Hey guys, this is Biswajit, your Ansible instructor. Since few days I am receiving a common question from my students that how to create an Ansible lab on their laptop or maybe on AWS cloud. So now I'm going to show you how to create a lab by using VMware Workstation Pro and using Red Hat Enterprise Linux version 9.
So let's get started. Open your browser and search for VMware Workstation. So there, look for the official site of VMware where you can download the VMware Workstation Pro for Windows. So once your download is started, now open a new tab and search for Red Hat ISO or RHEL ISO. So I'm downloading the latest ISO as of now. So make sure you have a Red Hat account to download, because without a Red Hat account you will not be able to download the ISO. This is gonna take some time to download, so let's skip to the next step. So once the download is completed, so start installing the VMware Workstation. This is taking some time. Now complete all the formalities and complete the installation. Now open your software, and if you have a license key, you enter the license, else go with the trial one. So once you open your VMware Workstation, you can create your virtual machines. See guys, here we'll be creating 3 virtual machines. One VM, we'll call it as the Ansible controller, and rest will be host. So here you can see the box host 1, host 2 are called as managed host. So we have to make sure the connectivity between controller and managed host exists by using a plugin called SSH. Also, in controller, there will be a user which I'll be using called master, and in managed host, the user which I'll be using called slave. So now let's create the virtual machine. So select your ISO. Give the personalized name for your Linux as well as the password. So disk size you can provide according to your wish. I am providing 30 GB. So I want to store the disk as a single file. So you can provide RAM as per your system capacity. I am providing 1 GB as of now. Once the installation started, you have to select the language as well as the region where you stay and press continue. So select your installation destination. So you have to click, I have missed it. So let's set it again. So click the disk and click on done. Now click on root password to set the password for your root user. So you can give whatever you want. as a password. Then click on Done twice. Now click on software selection. So the type of OS you want, you can select. So I want a normal machine. I don't want the GUI services because GUI take more resource of your system and I don't want that. Now once all you have selected, click on begin installation. This will take some time, however, I will fast forward it. Once it is complete, click on Reboot System. Now, once you see the localhost login, type the user as root and enter the password. So now, as my controller is ready, now we have to create managed host. So you can click on create a new virtual machine if you have a different ISO, or if you want to use the same ISO, you can clone the machine. So you cannot clone when the OS is running. So you have to shut down. Once the VM is powered off, you can right click and go to manage, and there you can find the clone option. Rename and set the name as you want, and then repeat the same step. You can have n number of managed hosts as per your system capacity and as per your requirement. Now power on all the machines. Now provide the credentials. As you have used the clone option, the credentials for the root will be same for controller as well as the host machine. So now I'll be taking SSH, but I'll not be able to SSH because of this option. So kindly change this in the SSH configuration file. So SSH configuration file is etc ssh sshd_config. This changes you have to do in controller as well as the managed host. So the changes is you have to set the option permit root login to yes. The changes will not be reflected unless you restart the SSH daemon. So use systemctl restart SSHD in all of the machines, which means Ansible controller as well as Ansible host. Now use IPA command to check the IP address assigned to your VMs. The full command is IP address show. Now use any kind of SSH client. I am using MobiXterm here. Enter the ID and password as per your credentials. Now you can set the hostname by using hostname.ctl set hostname and the name. Hostname can be set in multiple ways. Now I am using nmtui to set the hostname. There are multiple ways to set the hostname. You can use any approach you want. Now you can see there are 3 tabs. The first tab is controller and rest 2 are Ansible managed host. In Ansible controller, I'll be using a user called master. Whereas in Ansible host, I'll be using a user called slave. So set the credentials for your master and slave. As we know, we'll be using SSH plugin. So we have to enable key-based authentication by generating a SSH public and private key. So in managed host, we may perform a task like creating a user or installing a package. But a normal user called slave cannot perform those tasks. So how we are going to do that? You guessed it right. We'll be adding into the sudoers file. So use vi sudo and enter this line. Do not add percentage symbol as percentage represents the group. Now generate SSH key by using SSH-keygen. Once the key is generated, share the key to your managed host. But however, I cannot remember the IP address every time, so I am giving a name. So to give a name, we can use the etc host file. So I am naming it as host1 as and h1 and host2 as h2. Now I am transferring the SSH key. Now SSH key is transferred. Kindly check the SSH authentication. Once the SSH keys are transferred, now check the repos available. As of now, I don't have a repo. So to create a local repo, kindly download the ISO of your operating system. So I'm using wget and the OS link to download. So this will take quite a long time, so I'm gonna fast forward it. So now create a directory called /test and mount the ISO on the /test directory. Use mount-o command. Now create a directory under var called RHEL9. Now copy all the files from test to RHEL9 directory. Once the files are transferred, now create a repo file. To create a repo file, we'll be switching to etc yum.repos.d directory. Here create a file with any name, but make sure .repo is the extension. Once the file is created, enter all these arguments. Make sure the GPG key is entered properly. Also, in the given location, all the components are available. Now, try checking your repos. So as of now, I have 2 repos enabled. Now, I can install Ansible by using yum install. Press Y whenever asked. Once it is completed, now check the Ansible by using Ansible -- version. So we can see Ansible 2.14.2 is installed. Now switch to master and create a directory called Ansible, because all our Ansible files will be stored inside Ansible directory. So our first step to install Ansible is completed. Now we have to create a Ansible configuration file. See guys, there are three types of Ansible configuration file. One is a global configuration file which is stored in /etc ansible.cfg. And the second one will be there in our home directory, that is /ansible.cfg. And the third one, it can be there in any location, that is .ansible.cfg. Make sure the Ansible configuration file exists in such a directory does not have a 777 as a permission. And third step will be creating an inventory. So now I am in a home master Ansible directory. I'll be creating a Ansible configuration file. So make sure the name is correct. See, as of now, our Ansible is using etc ansible.cfg as a configuration file, but I want to change it by using this new configuration file. So create a group named defaults, and under that the first argument we'll be passing is inventory. So give the path where you want to create, or you have the inventory already. You can give any name, but I am naming it as inventory. In the given location, create the inventory file. Here you give the name of your machines. I have given H1 and H2. Now create a group. You can name them as RHEL or any other name. So instead of H1, H2, I'll be using host1 and host2, the full name. Now check the connectivity for all the machines. Use the ping module. See, I'm not able to connect to the machine. The reason behind it is here. Generally, we perform SSH using the username and IP address. But if you don't specify the username, what happens? So let me tell you what happens. Now assume there are two machines with us, this one A and B, and we want to perform SSH from A to B. Now let's say from A I have typed SSH 192.168.164.x, which is the B's IP, and there is no user called Max available on the other side. Instead, there is a user called Tom. So I have to specify SSH Tom @ the IP address. Only then the SSH is possible. So we have to specify remote_user as a SSH selected user. So I am providing remote user as a slave, so that my connectivity will be performed to the slave user. Also, we have transferred the SSH key to the slave user. Now let's try creating a user called Tom. As of now, we can see that there is no user called Tom in any of the hosts. I'll be using a user module to create. So use Ansible all host -m for module, then the user is a module name, then -a for arguments. I'll be giving name as well as the state as an argument. Now if I press enter, the user will not be created. Can you guess the reason? Let me show you. See here, this side we are a master, whereas the other side we are a slave user. Here slave is a normal user. Normal user does not have ability to create a user. So we have to give the sudo privilege by using -b as an option. Now you can see the user is created. You can check the list of your host by using Ansible -inventory-f list, and you can compare the output with your inventory file. We have successfully installed Ansible now. Thank you.